Hey everybody, what is up? I hope you're having a great day wherever you are in the world. And speaking of the world, you know what? I looked at our stats, and because I'd like to do it every now and again, and it's crazy, man. You know, we have listeners in places that you would never think: Korea, Iran, Turkey. Insane. Anyhow, look, today's guest. Hold on. One thing. So, New Zealand. Now, I don't have a lot of listeners in New Zealand. I think I have about 35, but that's okay. It's New Zealand. But whoever is out there, you guys, you New Zealanders, you're pretty consistent. Generally, what I see is on episode release days, 30, and then non-release days 2. So I don't know who you are out there, you 30 people and you 2 people, but hey, thanks for tuning in. And listen, and that goes for everybody. Listen really quick. If you're new to the show, we talk about selling real estate. If you don't sell real estate, that's fine. This is really a show about entrepreneurship through the lens of an agent. The stuff we talk about can be applied to any business. All right. So today's guest. Now, today's guest is a little bit of a maverick because she kind of is going against the grain of what we typically hear, right? Hey, go get a niche. This girl has no niche. She will do anything. Commercial, residential, land, lots, whatever. If there's a deal to do, she'll do it. And she's pretty creative about it. Now, the good thing is she's built a fantastic lifestyle business. The bad thing is, and why I don't recommend that you guys follow her footsteps completely, is that it's not scalable. You can't, right? You've all heard that, jack of all trades but master of nothing. And that's this girl. I really had fun with her, but that's what she is. And when you have a business like that, we're not laser focused on residential or commercial or whatever it is, you can't scale it. Your marketing is all over the map. What are you going to market? Commercial, anyhow, whatever. You get the point. I could build it out. Now, here's what we talk about. And these things that I'm going to talk about or some of the highlights here will apply to you. So we talk about why you should find investors, right? You guys should have a stable of investors, right? 2, 4, 5, 10 that you work with. Because when you have investors, number one, in good times, they're not going to be a big source of business for you, because again, they're only 2, 5, 10 guys. But during a downturn, it is those guys that will, or girls, that will keep feeding you. So why you should find investors, we talk about your list, right? I've been on this list building kick for a long time, but this current guest has a list of about 5,000 people. And oddly enough, for her investors, that is her whole value proposition. So have a list. We talk about value prop. There you go. What's your value prop? And we kind of break down, you'll hear us talk about a particular deal. And I go, hey, I ask her, why you? Like anybody could do it. Why you? And she explains her value prop. And again, it has to do with her list. All right. What we do talk about is she gives us some insight into the difference between residential and commercial. And how she gets commercial deals. Now, her value prop, in addition to her list, is that she knows zoning, right? What C61 is, what agriculture looks like. So we talk about why you guys should know some of that more legal type stuff, zoning. Really I brought her on for a few different reasons, but one of the main reasons is I get a lot of emails from you guys. Not a lot. Every now and again, people that want to focus on commercial. And they go, hey, Toby, go get some commercial people out there. Now, you guys being either current agents or aspiring super agents or whatever it is, the deal is we all, when you think about selling real estate, everybody thinks about selling residential. But there's a lot more than residential. And I want you guys to ask yourself, when you think about residential, commercial, agriculture, land, lots, whatever it is there low-hanging fruit in your market? I know there is, but what is it? Right? And just a quick example of this, today's guest, she's in an office. I don't even get it. There's 1,300 people in her office. I think maybe her little market at Keller Williams or whatever. 1,300 people. You know how many commercial folks are? 1. It's her. So what if you in your market was the commercial girl, was the land girl, right? The person who did lots, right? Where is the low-hanging fruit? Don't go out, bang your head, and try to get market share and fight against somebody who's, honestly has been at it for a long time, has a bigger budget. All right. So that's it. I hope you like it. Welcome to Super Agents Live. This is the one place where you can come and hear the most successful people in real estate. You'll hear how these super agents built their businesses, how they stay productive, and how they stay motivated. Who am I? My name's Toby Salgado, and I made my first $1 million in real estate. Yeah. And I'm your host for the next 30 minutes while we talk to yet another amazing real estate entrepreneur. Stay tuned.
Let's go! Yeah.
Real quick, before we get to the show, a little bit of housekeeping. Number one, you guys know, right? This show is brought to you by real estate radio experts. If you guys want listing leads, right? The come list me leads, it's radio, guys. So if you're doing, 50, 60 deals, 70 or more, give me a call. Go to Super Agents Live, Dominate with Radio tab, check out my videos, fill out the Getting Started sheet, and we'll see if you're a good fit. Number one. Number two, the hashtag for this show, you should know we have a very active Twitter community. So hashtag is Unpack That Idea. My Twitter handle is @SuperAgentsLive. I would love to meet you in Twitterland. And the two things I'm working on, right? The three things I'm working on. One, our Backstage Pass product, where you can come join the conversation, be on this call live with me, ask me questions, ask my guests questions, are done. That's number one. Number two, our done for you email product. Have a list. You need to communicate with it. The next thing everybody says, I don't know what to say. Well, you know what? Guess what? We're compiling right now. We have 100 done for you email campaigns with subject line, content, cut, copy, paste, send, done. And the third thing I wanted to talk to you about slipped my mind. I don't know. Hey, let's get to it. Introduce you. Hold on.
Okay.
Today on the show, we're doing something a little bit different. Look, when we bring on these mega teams of 40 people, 50 people doing 700 deals, I've gotten feedback from you guys. You're like, hey, I can't relate to that. So, we've kind of been on a hunt for searching for some folks a little bit that look a little bit more like you. And obviously they're still going to be aspirational. You're going to still have to work. You're not going to be at this level. But today's guest in terms of her niche, she doesn't have one, which a lot of you guys don't. She'll do commercial. She'll do land deals. She works with builders. Her team, she has one full-time assistant. She has 3 buyer's agents. So she does have a team there. Now, last year, she didn't do that many deals. She did 12 transactions. That's 1 a month. So that's, again, something as if you guys are doing 3 or 4 or just starting out, hopefully you can learn some lessons from this person. Her volume is $5 million, but again, she's doing some interesting stuff. She's in the middle of a flip, a $2 million flip. She's going to make $500,000. So she's got a very nice lifestyle business here. I'm thrilled to welcome Deborah Harris. Hey, Deborah, thanks for taking the time out.
Thanks for calling me.
So, listen, I know you've been at this for a very long time, and I want to get into what you're doing and why you're doing what you're doing and what's working and what's not. But before we get there, Deborah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been in the real estate business for 34 years. I straight out of college at Georgia Tech. I looked at my dad. I said, Dad, engineering's boring. He said, go get a real estate license. I went, I think I'll do that. So now I just tell people I'm holding dirt and I still sell it.
Okay. All right. So as I told the audience early on, you know, one of the things, Deborah, that we hear on the show is that, find a niche, niche down, high-rise condo, waterfront, or whatever. Now you've defied that, and you do everything. You'll do a commercial deal. You'll do a land deal. You'll do so talk to us about your philosophy around not niching.
Well, it actually, when the economy tanked, you couldn't sell anything but residential. But now that commercial and land's coming back, I'm focusing on that. And one of my assistant has had 10 years experience in dealing with residential, so I'm planning on handing the whole platter of residential properties over to her and handling just land and commercial from now on. Land tends to be the kind of wild dog, and I guess that's why I like it so much, because on land, you've got to deal with zoning. Typically, it's going to be a bigger deal, and it may take 6 months, 9 months, a year and a half to get done, but your paychecks are bigger. And on most of my stuff from here going forward, I'm sticking myself in there for a percentage of the deal, so I'm not just getting, half of the 8 or 10% commission. I'm getting that plus a percentage of the deal. And like on my property that I have up at Lake Lanier, I'm getting an additional 35% of what the profit's made on there, and our profit should be probably $500,000-$600,000 on that.
Okay, so hold on. And again, I want to talk about commercial because commercial is a whole different animal from residential. How are you doing this? I come to you and I say, "Hey, Deborah, I have." I don't know what a typical land deal for you looks like, right? And so that I can ask this question better, when you say land, are you talking about a lot or are you talking about land? Are you talking about acreage?
I'm talking about both. Like, for example, this week I'm going out and showing some lots that are commercial for a new car wash coming to town. So that can be an acre to an acre and a half, but that acre is going to be anywhere from $450,000 to $1 million an acre because of the traffic count in front of it. Or in the case of the deal I'm working on in Lake Lanier, I've got 98 acres with 68 lots and 24 boat slips. Well, on one of the deals that we're working on, we would be slipping off 60 of the lots, so we're ending up keeping 8% of lots. We're still going to make $500,000 or more profit, and we're keeping the boat slips, but we'll be able to lease or sell the boat slips separately to the people that buy the lots in the subdivision.
Okay, so let's talk about that one specifically. Okay, so you have this person who owns this thing comes to you and says, "Hey, Deborah, I have 68 lots." Now, I don't know if they're paper lots or not, right? And I don't want to get into the fine points of paper lots and rezoning something. How in the world, when I come to you and I go, "Hey, Deborah, I want to get rid of this," how it's a very unique thing for you to say, "Yeah, okay, fine, I'll sell it, but I don't want 6, I don't want 8, I want 30% of the deal." Like, how do you pull that off?
Well, in this particular case, I actually sold the lots to the guy, and I told him that if I was going to remarket it, that's what it was going to cost him for me to remarket it. And he knows I have a database with over 5,000 people in it, including all the home builders of Atlanta. So therefore, my marketing skills were what he knew it would take to sell it, and the only way I would be interested in being a part of hustling to get that done was if I was a partner. So for him, it's a win because I have a better database to get the thing sold than anybody else, and he's ready to go do the next deal with me as well.
Well, but honestly, look, listen, that guy's not going to be listening to this show. So I mean, I hear what you're saying, Deborah, and don't take any offense to this at all. So I'm not trying to be offensive. But I don't think that you are the only person that could sell this. So I don't know, why would he? What other thing are you offering for you to take 30%? $500,000? That's not, that's not coffee money.
Well, but that goes back to what is your value proposition? Okay. When you look at my 20-page presentation on why somebody should be interested in that, and it happens to be the only piece of property that's already developed. So it's not paper lots; they're existing lots, and they're buying $5 million worth of property for $2.2 million, and we're still got our $500,000 in there. It's all about who they think and how they perceive your value, and my value proposition is nobody can do what I can do.
Got it.
And they believe it.
Got it. Good for you. You are a phenomenal saleswoman. Okay. Now, so you are going to make $500,000 off this deal. Is that how it? Or
I'm going to make 30% of that plus my commission.
Okay.
And the commission is because I'm buying it going in. I'm getting 5% of our purchase price, which was 1.8, but because we lost a couple of lots, it's 1.7. Okay.
Yep.
So now that we're flipping it, so I've got 2 points in there for commission for me and 2 points for the other person, but the profit on top of that, I get another 30%.
Got it.
35%.
Good for you. Good for you. Okay. So now, again, what you said earlier was you said these land deals can be a little bit tricky and they can take like 6 months or more. Is it the timing itself? Is that why you demand a percentage?
Well, it's also about understanding zoning and what your costs are going to be. So I can look and say, okay, this tract of land right here is probably going to cost us $15,000 per townhouse lot to develop. And this tract, we got bigger lots, so it's going to cost us $25,000 per lot. Then, I've gone and gotten estimates for putting up a fancy gate and, estimates for the rock entry or, float. We have actually 26 boat slips on that. I have the boat slips are already built. They're already there. We got to get them floating. We got to add a roof. So it's stuff that typical residential real estate agents don't have a clue about, and a commercial or a land deal makes selling a house look like kindergarten. Right.
So yeah, you're like, man, you're like a woman on the old prairie. I mean, you're the wild west with you.
Yeah.
So okay. So let's talk about, we talked about land a little bit. Let's talk about commercial because, commercial is a whole different thing, a whole different animal. So is land than residential, which, when people think about being a real estate agent, they think about selling houses. What if somebody wants to think about selling commercial, maybe just talk to us about selling commercial, how it's different, why people should start doing it or not do it.
Well, quite frankly, in our company, we, in Atlanta, we have our 6 offices have about 1,300 agents, and I've actually spoken at the Keller Williams Family Reunion, which is their convention, before about changing your business from residential to commercial. And so actually I get a lot of my business off of being the referrals from the agents within the house. But when you've been doing it, your entire life, my phone call just rings and it says, hey, Deborah, go check out this piece of dirt, because I know, the commercial and the construction and the different businesses that another agent doesn't know.
Yeah. And by the way, I was in Orlando this summer I went to the family reunion. I don't know if you went or not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I've been to a bunch of them, but not this past one.
Okay. So again, there's not that many people doing it. You're getting referrals because, you're the one name that people do know. What is, if for someone to get a good understanding of how to do a land deal and zoning and C61 and, whatever it might be, what does the learning process look like? I mean, how long do you think it would take for someone to go out and learn the ins and outs of selling commercial or selling land at the level that you're at?
I would say I don't know, 5 or 6 years because it is that complicated. Because let's just talk about zoning for 1 second.
Sure.
The fact is that you're in one area of town, like working on my car wash, it's going to be a C2 zoning. So you have to go know how to get into the powers that be, which I do all that stuff online or get somebody to do it for me online. In another area of town, it's, HB, highway business. So the zonings are going to vary in each and every different county and vary in each and every city. So, where is it located? How far away is the sewer? Are taps available if there is sewer available? The first thing to learn about land is where you're going to put the crap.
Right. The sewage. Let me try to break this down a little bit for the audience because you can have industrial, you can have heavy commercial, you can have commercial, right? There's and that's kind of what you're talking about with the zoning. Just commercial, you can't just lump commercial into one category. There's multiple categories of commercial. Again, industrial.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Like the year before last, I saw what is called a lot of bulk houses. A lot of people probably never heard of that term either. I closed 87 bulk houses, closed 42 in 1 month. I never saw any of those properties, and quite frankly, it was Chinese buyers, and what were they buying? All of those properties were rented, so they were really buying a cash flow that yielded them 15%. You can't get a 15% return on that anymore, so you go structure it and tailor it for who is your audience and who is your buyer. And what are they trying to get? The biggest mistake I think any agents make is by not listening to what their clients want, you know. They'll go and say, well, I've seen this house and this house and this house, and they go try them off to see what they've already said instead of spending the time and say, you know, why do you want this? What do you like about this? What are you trying to do? What kind of return do you want to have? How much work are you willing to do? And truly go and consult with the people to find out what they really want. It's the same with commercial, except the questions are totally different.
So for somebody out there, let's say, because we have all sorts of people listening to this show, right? People that are just getting their licenses, people that are well-established, people who are refiring up their careers. Do you think, and again, we're global, so we have listeners all over the place. Do you is it a blanket statement? Could you say yes or no? Do you think there is, because so few people specialize in this commercial area or niche, do you think there's opportunity for people? Would you say people should explore this and put that 5 years in, become an expert, and so do you think there's opportunity for people?
I think there's definitely opportunity. As a matter of fact, you know, a lot of people call me and say, hey, I just want to learn something. I say, well, you know, you're welcome to get in my car. You're welcome to come with me on a listing appointment. You're welcome to, you know, ride around with me and listen to me sell something, you know, because I'm a closer. And you got to be not afraid to ask any question whatsoever.
So, okay. And by the way, that's phenomenally generous of you, right? I mean, you don't want some, you know, I don't like people that I don't know riding in my car. I feel like I have to talk with them. So I think that's very generous. How many people actually take you up on that offer?
Oh, a lot of people do. As a matter of fact, they call me up and say, "Hey, next time you're doing so," and I don't mind, because whenever I go into the appointment, I just say, "This is such and such. I'm his mentor, you know, and please bear with them that they're just trying to learn." And so, you know, and people think it's nice of me, the client, whether it's a buyer, think it's nice of me to be teaching, and gosh, I must be very smart to be teaching the babies how to do this.
Right. Okay. Now,
it's a backhanded compliment, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. So you know what you said to us a minute ago, Deborah. You said, "Hey, I'm a closer." Now, can you actually close? You know, for residential, I would make the argument that you can't close somebody. It's either a fit for them or it's not. Can you actually utilize your sales skills with a land deal or with a commercial deal to actually close people?
I do it all the time. Been doing it for years, you know, because it's about, say, you know, you give them the proper information to make an intelligent decision. And in the case of a lot of commercials, you give them the proper information to make sure that this is the right business move, that this is the right location for their business, that this is the right place to build a subdivision, that this is the right place to build houses. You give them all, and once you give them the proper information, which takes a whole lot more because you're going through statistics and how many building permits and all kinds of other stuff, then those people want to buy what they need. You know, right now, you know, I talk to builders almost on a daily basis because around Atlanta they're clamoring for land. And so, I'll send out an email blast to my 280-something builders, and my phone and my email will light up like no tomorrow. And they'll say, well, Deborah, I'm looking for this. Can you find me this? So the people that use my services want me to find them stuff. So closing them has never been easier than it is right now. They want help, and there's really not enough help out there.
Got it. Okay, so you are okay, I'm starting to your model is a little bit starting to make sense to me. It's starting to come into view. So you really I can almost say Deborah is not a real estate agent. Deborah is you're a consultant.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Got it. So as a consultant, now I can see why you can say, hey, look, I'm going to consult you on zoning, water lines and permit process and XYZ. And for that, you owe me 30% of the deal. I'm a partner of yours.
Well, not only that, it might be that, like I found an apartment complex that I like. So I might go and say, hey, and send out an email to some of my clientele. Hey, I found an apartment complex. It's got a 12% cap rate right now and a 10% cash on cash after the first year. Who wants to be a part of that? By the way, you get to spend your money. I'm going to use my brains, and this is how much I get because of it.
Right. Do you ever for, when you work with those 280 builders and you go and find them, you find them a little tract and they can put up, 30 home, I don't know how big a tracts you deal with. But typically when you're doing a land deal like that, there's always sort of like an odd piece, an odd lot. Do you ever go, hey, and I'll take, you're going to pay me X and I'll take that odd lot?
Well, like on my deal that I'm working on the lake right now, we're selling 60 lots for $2.2 million. So we're keeping 8 lots and 2 boat slips. So yeah, I'm taking actually, 3 very good lots and 4 or 5 not so great lots, as part of the deal, and we're still making that kind of money, and we're keeping the boat slips to sell them or lease them out separately.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think I think for the audience, one of the things, Deborah, is that when you are taking that kind of asset, instead of taking cash, you can manage your taxable income that way, right? Especially if the ones that you're gonna those slips that you're gonna keep and lease out, right? You're gonna realize that cash on a stream rather than just getting a lump sum payment and paying 30% of taxes on it.
Sure. Well, a lot of us were damaged pretty bad when the economy turned around. Granted, 13, 14, 15, and my numbers are going to go through the ceiling because of the size of them this year. But we're making up. I'm making up for bad times. So I'm planning on making $2 million in the next 2 years because that's my retirement program and leaving myself in these deals. So I've got the cash flows on top of it. So it's all about What is your goal and when you want to do it? Because I think we got 3, maybe 4 good years of, economic, and then somebody is going to screw up something again like Bernie Madoff did and like, those people on Wall Street did. So you got to go grab it right now while your opportunity's there because it's going to happen again. Real estate is cyclical. That's just a fact of life. I've been doing it since 81, so I've seen it go up and down and up and down and up and down. So, got to go grab it while it's up and set up your retirement program because next time the economy goes down, I'm going to be sitting there fat and happy.
Good for you. Well, yeah. I mean, so right. So real estate is cyclical, and it happens. We get booms of 7 to 10 years, and I would argue that we are we're 2 years into this boom, so we have 5. Maybe 7 years left in this. So yeah, you gotta grab it. You gotta grab what because somebody is gonna mess up again. Look, you've been at this a long time. What do you know now, Deborah, that you wish you would have known when you started?
Well, when I started in real estate back in 1981, first of all, they didn't like women in it. And I used to go to a bunch of meetings with all of these, guys that are now in their 80s, and they tolerated me because I was semi-cute blonde, But, what I wish I had back then that is available to a lot of people now, especially with the Keller Williams model, is a mentor. And I guess that's why I don't mind letting people ride around with me or listen to me. I mean, because that would have made a world of difference, but they didn't share information like they do now. They don't, there's education is available in many different formats. It wasn't available back then. But, quite frankly, you can go online and find all kinds of courses or YouTube to start learning this stuff, and I probably should get on there and start teaching some of this stuff. I used to give, free classes once a month in Atlanta before KW Commercial came on board, and I'd have anywhere from, 40 to 90 people show up within, Keller Williams, and they were allowed to bring their guests just to learn a little bit about commercial once a month. I should probably do it again, but anyway, I love real estate. It's fun again. It's fun again.
Good for you.
And people can see my love for what I do.
And speaking of teaching, I mean, that's what this show is all about. I mean, when this episode airs, the first day, like literally within the first, I would say 4 hours of me releasing this, I'll release them 3:30 a.m. Eastern. By 8 a.m. Western, which is my time in San Diego, this episode will have listened at least 1,000 times. You'll get 1,000 downloads in the first 4 hours. And then by the end of the week, you'll have between 10 to 30,000, depending on just the week, 10 to 30,000 people will hear this. So, you should start teaching. You should start doing that on, creating like a little YouTube channel and then charging people. Why not? Why don't you do some coaching? Maybe that's what you do when you retire.
I should do that. Quite frankly, I'm having so much fun sticking myself in the middle of deals. It all goes back to a question of time.
Yeah.
So I think that is an excellent idea, and real estate is a blast at last. My dad, God rest his soul, was a very well-known auctioneer. He had a nickname for me. He called me. He said, "Yep, there's my daughter. She's 48 acres of hell let loose in a 1 acre field."
Hey, can you do the whole auctioneer?
I did go to auction school, but what I did was I booked real estate and business auctions early on, but I never called an auction in my life. I never did.
Got it.
But I did go to school.
Got it. Okay.
That's the extent of my auctioning.
We're a little bit off track. I don't know how those guys do it. It's always amazed me. I don't know what they're saying, but anyhow, okay. Listen, let's get to the coaching here. So you've seen a lot of people come and go. And look, and NAR will say that 90% or like 85% of the people getting into real estate today will not be here 12 months from now. What is, in terms of like an 80-20 rule, right? Like 20% of what you do will get you 80% of the results. What are a few of those 20% tips that you've learned along the way that you can share?
Well, I think this all goes back to, developing relationships. People buy real estate or anything for people that they like and trust. So, you develop your relationships, and they're going to, and don't send them what they don't want. They only want to see what they have told you that they want. So if you don't waste their time, they'll be glad to answer your phone call. They'll be glad to respond to your email, because if you're doing what you should be, you're only going to send them what they definitely do want. So I would say keep a handle on separate your clientele up, very specifically, because sometimes they just want North Atlanta. Sometimes they want just in town. Sometimes they want only tracts that are bigger than 50 acres. Sometimes they must have sewer. So you got to keep a track of the specifics of what's going to make them click so they want to do business with you.
Now you, right, okay. You said your database is 5,000 strong. Now you have been at this, to be fair, you've been at this for 30 years, but building your list is important for everybody. How have you done that? That's a bad question. What are some?
No, it's not.
Okay, there you go. Answer it.
No. Well, initially when somebody's new, I think they need to do a lot of networking at, business networking events. Now you've got Meetup and some of those things that you can go to, some of those early morning breakfasts. But the whole thing is to get out there and say, hey, my name is such and such, and I deal in real estate, commercial real estate, and a lot of people in commercial, they'll specialize. I only do industrial. I only do apartment complexes. I only do office buildings, I figured out one time the only thing I've never sold is a brownfield. And for those that don't know what it is, that means that's one of those places that is environmentally has problems. That's the only thing I've never sold. I've even sold swampland in Florida.
How funny. By the way, I just looked you up, Deborah. You look like a movie star. You look like, I don't know what movie star you look like, but I'm looking at your Realtor.com picture. Who do you look like? Who do you get told that you look like?
Well, most people tell me I look like Melanie Griffith.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Okay. Okay. So how should somebody approach, again, what are some tips for people to build their list? I know you be out there, real estate's a contact sport, meet people. But do you have sort of a unique kind of way that you've done it? And look, here's what I think about you. I think you are this firecracker woman, and I think you have no problems being in line at Starbucks and talking to like everybody around you. I think that's how you built your list.
I will talk to a doorknob if I think it's listening, but I think people should, sometimes logoed stuff, logoed shirts or whatever will say the story. So, like we have Keller Williams commercial T-shirts, or a sign on your car. Sometimes that's a great way to break the ice, or, even if it's just a real estate shirt that says, like a nice polo shirt or something, because when you deal in land, we don't dress up to go walk a tract of land. So, I'm forever in, some long shorts and a polo shirt because it's too hot in Georgia for us to go trot around in pantyhose or something.
Right. So, okay, we're going to start wrapping up here. You've been fun to talk to, but you mentioned a mentor, right? I mean, you're a mentor to people. You along the way for you, have you had a mentor, and who was that?
Yes, that is a very interesting story. I think one of my mentors, I've had a couple of them, and one of them I've known for 30 years. And he owned an office building that I had an office in way back when I was just kind of an independent broker back in the early 80s. And I busted up some tract of land for some timber companies. And so we'd always do 99 tracts of land because you didn't get into HUD regulations. And you had a week to pick out your tract of land for XX financing, 20% down, such and such financing, and whatever, we knew we were going to end up taking, 15% of them back. And, so we would have it blast all over the radio, it'd blast all over the TV, but it was in smaller markets, not the Atlanta markets, too expensive to do something like that. And so I went to South Carolina to do this, and I went to a couple local big brokers. I said, hey, I want to hire a couple of your people, and we're going to sell 99 tracts of land in a week, and it's going to have this big average. Oh, no, it's going to take you 2 years to do that. I said, well, I've done 30 of them in 4 different states. It's not going to take me 2 years to do that. And so I just went and got some of it, a couple of friends, and we all got licenses in South Carolina, and I proved them right. I could sell 99 tracts of land in a week. Well, that same very guy, he's got a tract of land, and listen to this. This is kind of interesting because he thinks I'm the most skilled. It is a neat piece of property, but it's got a topo issue with it. But it's right near the Braves' new stadium, so I'm ending up with 50% of the profit, over $500,000 when I sell that.
Wow.
So but he's known me for 30 years. He knows that nobody can deal with the problems of this property better than me. And back when the economy was hot, I think 2005 or 6, I took him an offer for $2 million, and he turned down on the same piece of property.
Huh.
So believe it or not, he has been a part of my real estate life for over 30 years.
That's great. That's awesome. I think everybody should go and find a mentor. And I think not enough, people always ask me, they're like, well, how, Toby? Well, people ask me, they're like, Toby, can you be my mentor? I don't have enough time. I just can't do it. That's why I do the show. But I think people should be put themselves out there more and say, hey, look, I need a mentor. It doesn't have to be formal. Just every now and again, will you answer some questions? So listen, Deborah, I don't know. I always ask for a book recommendation. I didn't set you up for it. I didn't tell you earlier, so I apologize about that. And I don't know if you read. I mean, I think somebody like you...
I read. I tell you what I read. I read the Atlanta Business Chronicle cover to cover about real estate. I read the business section of the Atlanta Journal. I read everything about doing a better job for myself. But if I were to tell a new person, in residential or commercial to read a book, I would tell them to go get Think and Grow Rich and read it cover to cover because, A, it's a very easy, quick, interesting read, and B, those principles, it made everybody else very successful. I actually started out on a pioneer program for Coldwell Banker back in '81, and I was one of like 30 people selling timeshare for Coldwell Banker in Atlanta. And I ended up being the number one salesperson for them back then. And it was all because we read Think and Grow Rich. We listened to, CDs and tapes, from Earl Nightingale. I like Tony Robbins. I like anything that has anything to do with anything positive, I don't want to read anything negative about anything. Just tell me the good stuff. And that's the way I want to live my life around, is all the positive stuff.
I love it. And I'll tell you, man, Think and Grow Rich, foundational, changed my life when I read it, when I was like 19.
Me too.
Awaken the Giant Within, phenomenal book. I mean, that's so everybody should have those. And listen, every audience, I'm talking to you right now. If you haven't read those books, I encourage you to go read them. And listen, you can get a free copy. Just use our link, audibletrial.com/superagentslive. Hey, Deborah, you've been great to talk to. You're a handful. I always encourage our audience, if they've gotten anything out of this episode, to reach out and say thank you to you. So where can people find you?
My email is atlantarealty@gmail.com. And my phone number, 404-272-9827.
Wow, you are a generous person. And listen, everybody, if you're walking your dog, riding your bike, driving your car, that's fine. All this stuff will be on the show notes. Just go to superagentslive.com. Find Deborah Harris. She's the girl who looks like Melanie Griffith. Hey, Deborah, I will kick off the thank you train. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to share with me and my audience.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's keep in touch, Deb.
All right, bye-bye.
See you.
Let's go. Yeah. For those of you that want to know what we're all about, it's like this, yo. This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated